Get this, Americans drink twice as much alcohol during the holidays than they do at other times of the year. Some say it's the celebratory season, but experts say personal pressures can lead people to high intensity drinking this time of year. Dr. Ashley Zucker is a psychiatrist with Kaiser Permanente in San Bernardino. She's here to talk about the risks associated with this type of heavy drinking. I had never heard the term high intensity drinking, but this is something you talk about.
Yeah, definitely, especially during the holiday season. We definitely see an increase in that intake of alcohol and just the frequency. So it does become kind of high intensity, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Is it one of those things that people are just not mindful about their drinking, or is there a social aspect to this? What's going on?
I think there's definitely a social aspect to it, especially when we think about around the holiday season. It's pretty common. You're going to more events, more parties. There tends to be more alcohol present. It can also be more stressful time.
Yeah.
So people might be leaning towards alcohol
You're
a little bit more.
self-medicating in some type of way.
Yeah. You know, difficult family circumstances. There's a lot of different reasons.
You should never drink with difficult family circumstances. It just leads to more difficult.
It can be very dangerous, yes.
You know, I think it's interesting because when you look at binge drinking, a lot of people go, oh, I'm not a binge drinker. I don't do that.
Right.
But for women, it's only 4 drinks, and
Correct.
for men, it's 5. And
Yeah.
if you go to a holiday party over the course of several hours, that's pretty easy to do for some people.
It really is. It can sneak up on you pretty fast.
So what is your advice when you are going out and maybe you do have some of these other stressful circumstances in your life, and now
Right.
you're going to parties? How do you tell your patients to handle it?
Well, I think it's good to have a plan kind of going into things. So have a thought process ahead of time when you're walking into an event. It can also be good to like mix it up a little bit. So maybe you do have an alcoholic beverage and then your next drink is non-alcoholic. If you are really worried about sort of the social pressures, social contracts, you know, ask for a non-alcoholic drink in a wine glass and or a champagne flute. No one's going to know the difference. So
well, that's later on in the show. We're talking about mocktails. There's a rise in that. Is that something you're glad to see happening?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit more of this increase in sort of this sober culture that's been a bit different from what we've seen in the past. And so to have an alternative that is socially recognized as acceptable, I think is a great option for people. And maybe drinking too many mocktails, they've got a lot of sugar in them. You got to be careful with that. But sugar's way better than alcohol. So if you had to pick,
maybe choose the mocktail, right. Or do a cocktail and then do a mocktail, then a water, and mix it up all the way around.
Exactly.
We've been looking at numbers, and we talk about it on the show all the time, that drinking really spiked during the COVID-19 lockdown. Many people thought as we returned to normal that those numbers would come back down, but they haven't. What do you see attributing to that in your practice?
I think there's a number of factors at play. I think the world is still a very stressful place. We just went through a stressful election season. So there's always sort of something happening in the world, unfortunately, that I think keeps that stress level a bit higher. I think also for people who maybe increased their drinking during the pandemic, it hasn't necessarily gone back down. And many people may not recognize that they have a problem with their drinking as well. So I think those are some of the reasons we haven't seen it come back down as much as we'd like.
How do you, if somebody's not recognizing they have a problem, what are some ways, if you're a family or friend and you're noticing that there's been a change over the last few years, how do you talk to someone about that?
I think it's good to just be honest about it with them. Hey, I noticed a difference, or I noticed that you seem to be, drinking a little bit more. Or how do you feel about your drinking? And just having that kind of conversation with them. You want to come from a very non-judgmental place and just be really open to, what they have to say. And even sometimes putting your own sort of experience in on it, like, oh, it's been really difficult for me recently, and I've noticed myself, leaning towards X, Y, and Z. That can help too.
You don't do one of those, oh my gosh, you've been drinking so much. It's more from a curiosity standpoint of how are you feeling. Okay. Dr. Ashley Zucker, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Appreciate it. It's Thursday going into the weekend, so I think this is a very helpful conversation for a lot of people.
Yes.
Let's get a check now of our next weather forecast with meteorologist Paul Diano. Hey, Paul.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning to you at home. What we have is a pattern that's going to take over. That's going to be rather chilly. Los Angeles is not going to get above 68 degrees for the next 6 days. The last time we did that was the first week of March. It's going to be that chilly. It has been 280 days since we will have the week that we're going to have, where the heat is gone.